Shirley here with Sirius Talis Moon, and I want to talk about Saturn ruling Sol Pluto square that is perfecting today, and Sun Pluto square in the context of Ketu Magha, um, Moon in Leo in a good position to talk about these things. Venus hour, and Sun Pluto. First of all, Pluto is ruled by Saturn that just conjoined Neptune and exposed a lot of names of a lot of leading personas in various sectors: fashion, academics, business, tech, and even occult and spiritualism. And Sun Pluto is hidden leadership. Sun Pluto hard aspects is the crisis of hidden leadership. Saturn here is the depth that leadership went to by raping and enslaving people for profit. And this is where, if you think about the fall of USSR, the common people went to work, they lived together. A doctor lived with, let's say, the person that cleans the street, and that was really a commune with the good and the bad about it. The children were playing at the same kindergarten, and then the money ran out. Now, people wouldn't have a reason to think that the money would run out because they were all working for the nation, having their houses, however modest, and sharing their food. So it's true that people had to do even weird things to have like something like a candy, depending on the place or the country that they lived. And one sudden day, the money runs out. And to what the money runs out? Because people are working for the nation, they live in public housing, and then the money runs out. And it's kind of like, but we're working. We're working. Where? And here is the thing that the work model of the person that cleans the street makes the same as the professor in academia. And by the way, as a person that was in academia, I can say that throwing out the garbage, I think they make more. I'm not joking. The people that clean the street, maybe not, but the people that work in the garbage can, they might make more. There was a time I was even thinking to do that, but there weren't enough women, and it was not adaptable to disability. Um, don't. We would probably find all kinds of things in the garbage that they can't talk about, and then I would spot corruption also there, and then I would not be able to do that. So the money runs out, and then people wonder, why did the money run out? Well, the money ran out because the money was used to pay to extortion cults. Douglas McIntyre. Watch Douglas McIntyre. Um, and so the hidden leadership is at a crisis because they don't have money to pay. And slavery is violation of human rights. And so with Saturn in Aries, there is a challenge because everything is motivated by sovereignty in Aries. Even jobs that we thought are jobs, we take a look at the slavery component and we say, is this job supporting me? is this job yielding? Will my children have an inheritance if I work in this job? Can I self-sustain? Is the money going to the job or to medicine? If not, it's not a job. It's not even modern slavery. It's violation of human rights, basically crime against humanity, punishable by death. I should not be at risk of death at the job. And mind you, a barista that stands prolonged hours on their feet, within 1-2 years will develop back problems, leg problems, bone problems, and and inflammation that can become chronic and have other anomalies of growth of cells sitting on it. Let alone sexual harassments at the workplace, let alone other things. Now, when those other things were the main source of compounding interest to fight inflation, first of all, they were the main source of inflation. Inflation, inflammation, c'est tout. Okay? Just watch the two trends: inflammation in society and inflation in society. Inflammation related diseases are any um, rheumatological diseases, anything that grows on that, because it goes hand in hand with mold and cavities, mental health, and on that sits anomaly of cell growth. So that can be yeast, and on that yeast, um, Epstein-Barr syndrome, that people, mononucleosis, people say, oh, it's a terrible thing, but it's a phase. No, it's not. It reaches the nervous system. And those things are also results, the Epstein-Barr not, but the inflammation when people are astrally attacked or attacked through certain interface of technology. So inflammation, inflation. If we think about how much inflammation is in the world, and we understand that, um, for example, there was a case with slavery in France, where France was litigating for kidnapping and enslaving its people. Hamas, for example, could have been paying entire Qatar. um, but ask about Israel, to its own people. Should Hamas be paying to its own people? I believe yes. Um, and and this is where people are hiddenly, with the Sol Pluto crisis with Ketu Magha after the Epstein dossiers, people are hiddenly don't know where they would pay for, because they used to pay by committing crimes against humanity. Now, of course, Sol Pluto crisis is also a crisis of exposed hidden leadership. Who are the people that try to enslave here? Rape is not work. And by the way, they target the raped infants that survived for these things. And what do they want to fund? Femicide. That's what they want to fund. Families that are invested in femicide, I really hope there are not women raising their children or babies now that could be targeted. The baby could be raped in the astral. Funded by their investment that fund femicide. Sun square Pluto is also a crisis leadership where there is a crisis between leadership and the occult. If the occult is built on enslaving people, raping people, then the leadership can no longer rely on that occult, because the leadership needs to represent the people, otherwise it loses mandate of the heaven. Even if it's a monarchy, by the way. Now, what happens right now is exactly with Saturn, Neptune, and Saturn and Neptune are going to go retrograde and meet on degree 1. Watch Douglas McIntyre, because this is what's happening right now. Where's the money they had to pay to extortion cults for the children that were raped? And it did not go to the child. So there is money. But they were intending to use that money to grow more child trafficked slaves. The grand trine between the moon, Lilith, and Mercury in a fire sign reminds us that Uranus in Taurus reminded all of us, I think there's not a single person in Taurus that didn't try to work and was stopped to confront whatever is missing in their relations to being with themselves, to sensuality. It says until those issues are not resolved, if a person is in their inner child phase still needing to be safe and free from the rape that they were targeted to as infants, they can't go to work. And the crisis is such that people became disabled, or people became sick, or people were not able to work because they were requiring rape at every job. Now, there's a lot of money. And not only that, the people that were harassed because since infanthood they were targeted by rapists of the very cults, religious or not, that raped the children and sent them as extortion cult. As long as there are raped children, there is nothing that can sustain. And the adults that are not rapists are not rapists because they tend to their inner children. It means that the person needs to lie still as an infant and be safe and free from any targeting, even if they're 60, because they are recovering from these things that if they wouldn't recover, they would become people who commit crimes against humanity. They can't bring children. It's not a person that can parent someone. They can't grow a family. And if their rights are violated, they agree to explode entire earth. Because since infanthood they've been dealing with that. And it's more humane. It's euthanasia in respect to seeing rape as a job. Now, I don't know how does a child that was not targeted or raped at infanthood sees these things. Because I'm not that child. As Googleplex, people are not that child.